It's off exit 10, presented by Capital District Sport and Fitness.
So now I'm like, all right, I'm going to go at this angle. I don't even look at Mike. I see him.
Good, dude.
Yeah, we're good.
Might say, wow, that was rude.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, we're good.
I'm okay with myself over here.
All right, well.
Oh, you guys never took it down. No shit.
What?
The my Pittsburgh shirt.
Yeah, once they go up there. Oh, yeah, I forgot you gave us that orange one, and you gave us the
I gave you the
Milkman.
Milwaukee one, yeah. The Milkman. Over in the corner out there.
Because both of those were what? Independent leagues?
Yeah.
But
both was Indy.
But different than the Valley Cats League?
Yes, both different leagues. So Pittsburgh was the Pacific Association, which is now gone. So that's an OG right there.
Yeah.
And the Milwaukee was actually the first year of the Milkmen in the American Association.
How many indie leagues are there? Are there a lot, or has it dropped down?
It's
So
definitely
when-
dropped down over the years, for sure.
When the minor league kind of restructure happened, there was a lot of, like what happened with the Valley Cats, like it happened a lot of different places. And unfortunately, a lot of those places aren't, the funding, the finances to do everything. If you don't have that affiliation tag, you don't get the gate money, the concession money, kids going out there, what team? They don't get it. They don't get the whole independent structure, and it's hard to drive. I get it. I get it. But,
Yeah, it's tough. It's
yeah.
really tough. A lot of the, what is it? They got rid of low A, I think it was.
They
the
got
minor leagues.
Oh, it was so many teams.
Yeah.
Holy
So
cow.
a lot of the low A teams, it was either, I know out in the Pacific Northwest, that's like a whole brand new indie league and stuff like that now. One out there.
But
I don't know
doesn't-
the name of it.
Doesn't it make the indie leagues better because there's less affiliated teams, so the better talent, they need somewhere to play?
Yeah.
You would think so. You would think so. Just look at the Valley Cats. They got Kumar Rocker,
Right.
a couple years ago. I know that was a little bit of a loophole type of deal, but you got Kumar Rocker. Look at how well they did when he was pitching.
Right.
Oh wow.
Yeah. No, it's stuff like that. It's the little things that, people are just pulling from that makes it really difficult, I guess, in the indie ball leagues at
So
least.
if we're talking about these shirts, I got a high school teammate up there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're a shaker guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why do I think... Did you go to college down south?
Yeah.
Because that's where I think you're, from down south, but that's just where you went to school.
Yeah. 45 minutes away from him, actually. He went to East Carolina. I went to Barton. His brother came to us for his freshman year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Shakers, wow, because Hoff, and then you were there, and Canley was there.
there, too.
Kaylee was there 08, I believe.
Yeah,
so
'cause he's like my age or my age.
Yeah. He pitched great last night, by the way. I had to tell my wife, hey, this guy,
we like that guy.
we like that guy. We pull for him.
Yeah.
He said he turned down more money
Yeah.
from the Red Sox to go to the Yankees.
Yep.
We like that guy more.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely like that guy.
Yeah, Canley's a good dude. Hoff's a good dude.
Yeah.
They're both...
Yeah.
This area's had a lot of good guys for how small this area is.
Is it really that small of an area?
I don't know. I just think of it as that. Because, I
Well,
lived
we
in...
think of our area.
I lived in Boston for a while, and Paul lived in New York. But we're from Chatham, so it's like the smallest of small towns.
Chatham's the size of this half and half. But yeah, so we associate, small area, but really when you think about it, up here isn't that small of an area. Clifton Park, Saratoga.
Yeah.
But you go down, Hudson, Chatham, Taconic, those are
Oh, yeah.
smaller areas where if you get, Maple Hill, I think of Schultz.
Yeah.
Out of Maple Hill.
Right.
That's like, dude, you
what
came out of
year-
Maple Hill.
What year did you graduate high school, Breen?
11.
So that's around the same as us,
Yeah.
08, 09,
Yeah,
11.
I think Schultz was, probably.
Schultz
he was
Schultz
9
was
with me.
09,
Jordy, you were
yeah.
11,
Schultz was
right?
9.
11.
He hit a ball so far one game, dude. I don't think it came down. It's still gone. It was with a Beezer bat. So
Oh,
that thing was hit
juiced.
7,000 feet.
The
Juiced.
fucking Beezers,
You,
man.
you probably heard it from 6 miles away,
Yeah,
too.
it looked like Stanton hit the ball. That. I was like, Jesus Christ.
I think Beezers were your last year in high school, Zach.
They were.
Yeah, it was your senior year.
Yeah, they
Because
were.
my junior my junior senior was with the BB course.
BB course.
And that was like the original BB course,
Which
too,
wasn't
so,
good at all.
Those went nowhere.
Yeah,
man.
it was a lot of, the Beezers. There's a lot of, hey, throw the fastball, duck.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's coming at you. Oh my God.
There's a meme online where it's like all those old bats lined up, like the Exos, the Liquid Metal, the Stealths.
Oh, dude, the
And
stealth.
Any color.
Any color.
The connection, but it's like the meme is like when you're playing third base and you see one of these, like just know God's calling you home.
That's true.
Those
Like,
things were
all right, lip
incredible.
of the grass. Yeah, the outfield grass.
Yeah.
Those things were incredible.
Yeah,
man.
you ever tell kids? We'll tell kids in your family, like you don't know, like what these Beezers were.
Oh, yeah. The kids today, like especially just them just giving through lessons and just giving lessons, they're always talking about like, oh, this one's hot, this one's hot. I'm like, no, you truly don't understand.
No
like,
idea.
we like back in the Beezer days, you have high school kids in the ball like 115 and up, just lacing kids,
lacing
left and right.
Got it off the end.
Yeah, got off the end at 101 oppo. Like,
Like once in a while, we'll get kids that'll go down to like Cooperstown and they'll play in a game where it's like you can use Eddie bat.
yeah, the
and they'll-
USSAs.
and they'll use the Beezer bats.
Wait,
down
you
there.
can do that?
yeah.
We had one of the kids in here. He was telling me he hit like 5 home runs or something like that. And, like the team itself had like 20 something home runs in like the tournament down
So when I was coaching in Oneonta, one of the things that we got our kids to do was to go ump those games. Like that was how they made money during the summer. Like a lot of the pitchers would go ump 3 or 4 games.
Is this the stuff that Davey was talking about, Paul? Like he'd always rip on these umpires that did
Yeah.
PGCBL, but they also
Oh, yeah.
did this.
Oh yeah, Oneonta knew them all. We were all friends with them because our guys were in kind of the shit with them. So they're just umping all these games and stuff like that. And they're coming to the field in the afternoon. And they're telling me, "Oh, dude, we saw this like 8-year-old who's like 4'3", just hit a ball 450." Or like we'll be golfing at the country club right next to it, and like we'll be at the tee box, and you'll see some baseballs just flying left and right and center, just all over the place. Like, those things are hot, man. The USSAs that they have now.
Yeah.
I mean, Marucci, those get banned pretty much every spring, I feel like, just because of how hot they are.
Beezer bats were dangerous.
You hear that?
I hear the car. It's mesmerizing.
Sometimes he picks that stuff up. The people probably won't hear that. It'll get like faded out in editing. But yeah, Breen was like, his eyes just
Breen
lit
just
up.
zoned out for a second. He's
I'm like,
what's
is
going
that
on?
the Death Wish coffee hitting him already?
It hit.
Oh, it's locking in.
He's in the slot.
Yeah, but I appreciate both you guys coming on. It's
Thanks for having us,
man.
no man, no problem. It's I've said before on here, when I worked in Boston, it's like I had such this network of people that I'd work with, like other physical therapists and strength coaches and like baseball skill coaches and docs, because you need a team and you need referrals and connections to help people and to make a living. So when I came back here, I'm like, let me try to create this team in New York. I feel like I met both of you guys early on.
Yeah. It was pre-hip, actually, for me.
That was pre-hip for you, and I think I was still playing. Like, I remember coming in here as soon as you guys just opened up because I needed a place to work out
That's
at.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I just remember you showing up with your dog when I started working here.
Oh, yeah, little
Joe
furry
Boone.
mailbox, yeah.
Always.
He's a great little dude. Do you have a dog yet, Breen?
Oh yeah. We got a dog. I like to say a little dog, but she doesn't know that. She doesn't know she's 57 pounds. So
Yeah.
when she jumps on you, and it's you're right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
She doesn't know that. They don't get along at all.
Oh, they hate each other.
Oh yeah, they don't get along at all.
Yeah.
Dude.
Stop over the hump. No, don't.
Yeah, who knows with dogs? Our dog was so great, and she's still great, but then we had a baby, and she's like, I feel bad. The thing's like fucking traumatized every day. Like gets out of bed like it's a new day, like hops into the living room and looks over at the baby, and she's like, oh, fucking, she's still here.
Been
Goes
replaced.
back in the bed. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back to bed.
But I'm happy you're both on too, because we all work with so many high school kids and middle school kids and college kids. And when you're in high school, a lot of these kids have aspirations to play in college and have aspirations to continue to play after college. And baseball's a tough ladder to climb. And I feel like we all have like experiences in that. And like we were talking when we first came on, now with the draft got cut
Yep.
from what, in half basically?
40 to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like we've had
That's math. 40, 20. That's half.
yeah.
I was counting on my fingers trying to
I
figure
was.
it
I had
out.
to help. I knew I had to help Downey out over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It's we've had so many PGCBL kids in here over the years, and I feel like a lot of them pre the draft getting cut are guys that go late round and then have a chance. And I feel like with that 20 rounds now, you got to be a stud to go.
It's slim pickings. I mean, you have to get out there and you have to perform. Like, you have to put yourself in front of the right people. I think personally, from the pitching side of it, I think it's opened up a lot of the high school, like the showcase game is booming right now. Like, there's so many, get yourself out there, get seen by anyone who matters. You can go here, you can go there, anywhere in the country. And you got a lot of these kids that are just training and they're not really like they play their high school season. But rather than going to like a full, like, oh, we're going to travel this, they only go to these events. And it's a whole different landscape compared to when we were coming through, when you would just try to play and play and play. And, if they always told you, hey, if you're good enough, they'll find you. Now you kind of have to go find them.
See, I used to push back against, I think my opinion probably changed within the last year, maybe talking to Davey and then talking to McFerrin. Maybe that changed me the most. I used to really push back against it, probably partly because we saw everything evolve from just like playing in your yard with your buddies and playing Little League and your high school team. And then that was it. If you're good, you get seen. And that was like anti-showcase. Yeah. Like, there's pluses and minuses, right?
Yeah, there's definitely pluses and minuses to it. Like, I can speak from the hitting standpoint, but like, it almost kind of reminds, like, nowadays it kind of reminds me like kind of the indie ball way. Like, you have to have numbers or else, against good competition too, you just have to have numbers, so you have to go out there and play.
You mean like your stats in a game, but plus like exit velocity and
I think stats, like, I love metrics and everything like that, but I think you need stats to prove that you can play. Like, there's kids, I mean, we all know them, we've all seen them, that are showcase guys. And they're 5 o'clock hitters and stuff like that. They look great, but lights come on and they kind of shrivel up. Where like the whole point of the job is to play and play well. So I think the stats is the most important part.
Yeah, the whole art of playing baseball. And like, I had a conversation with a guy the other day, and I was like, we got, if you look at him throwing a bullpen in here, it looks like a big leaguer. Or you take another guy, oh my God, he's got exit velocity, 115. He's crushing this, he's crushing that. What happens if he gets a changeup?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. What happens if, your 1-2 count, you got to run around third base, and that's the go-ahead run, or that's the tying run? Do you know that I need to get him over? I need to hit a sac fly. I need to know the situational part of baseball.
Right.
There's not a lot of, hey, he just doubled up on this pitch. What am I sitting on? Like, there's a lot of those little game within the game aspect, like they like to call it. Like, that's kind of missed out on. There's, I got to come in here. I got to hit 90. I got to hit over 100, whatever it is.
Right.
Like,
well, it's IQ. It's the game IQ that you gotta have. And then with the numbers too, I tell kids all the time in here, like, they'll want to like lift more weight. And I go to them and I'm like, you're not ready to do that yet. And then I'll explain it to them, especially like a baseball kid. I'm like, if you have an exit velo of 105, but you can't hit the damn ball, does it matter? And they go, no. And I was like, so if you have 100 more pounds on this, but you can't lift it right, does it matter? And they're like, no. And they're like, ah. And it's like light switch.
Yeah.
And you could have the exit velo, you could throw 90, but if you can't throw strikes or hit the ball, it doesn't matter.
See, absolutely right. I mean, that's the trend. Unfortunate. That's the way it goes.
Like, the mechanical fine-tuning of just swings and just pitching in general, like, that's gotten a lot better. But as that has increased, obviously, just like the game within the game, like we were all saying, like, that decreases. Like,
yeah,
it's almost kind of like some like beginner stuff that you just totally forget about. Where that's the things that need to be the most important things, like hammer down to.
But aren't there numbers now, Breen, that just like college coaches want to see to even look at somebody? Or am I wrong about that?
Yes and no. I mean, when you're looking at a couple guys and it's like, okay, well, he's got this, he's got that. Like, if you look at those that stand out off the page, and like that's like, okay, he's got everything. Can he play? Versus, okay, you don't hear about the guy that's, hey, I'm 85, 86. I got 4 pitches. I didn't walk anybody last year. It's my quality of contact very low. I understand how to pitch. I can throw 6, 7 innings because I'm not running up 100 pitches. I'm staying efficient because I'm filling up the zone. And, you don't see that as much, and that's where you have to go digging. The easiest thing to say is, okay, here's a number, bang, bang, bang. He's got this, he's got this, he's got this. What's his spin rate? Okay, he's got, he's 6'5", he's 88, he throws, 2,400 spin fastball. It's like, oh, okay, that speaks for itself.
Right.
There's a lot of that, but when you're really looking into a guy, and that's where you got to dig deep and you got to find like the right guy, because a lot of those guys, like you're saying, oh, I'm 90, I got 2,400. What setting did you do that in? Like, did you go to an event and did you throw that 90 6 feet over the backstop? Like that doesn't count.
Yeah, I think it's like social media is good and like Twitter is good because you can get yourself out there in front of people. But you're right, like when people are posting like top 92 average, but it's just like what were those pitches?
Top 92. I'm 90 to 91 with a top of 92. Are you? Are you? That's impressive. You didn't throw one under 9. Good. How many pitches did you throw? 4?
I still love the just baseball way of explaining just stats or numbers. It's always the 3 numbers. It's like I range from between here, but I max out here. And the max is always like something ridiculously like 3 or 4 miles an hour more than the range. And you're like, all right, well, where'd that actually come from?
Right. Yeah.
Like, let's be real here. No, like I would say numbers and like everything when like looking at it like a player, those are the most like eye-popping things that'll come out at first. But then like, again, where was that? What setting was it in? Can you actually like replicate it in a game? Like those are the things that like, you know, when you get on the road and you go look at them, that's where I think it really.
It's a little bit more refreshing to us. Like on the summertime, we don't have the numbers. We don't have anyone's numbers. They come in, oh, they'll show you, oh, I got this and I got this.
You're saying with the Mohawks.
Yeah, yeah. You come in, it's like you've seen them on TV, but you're not in there every day. You've never met these guys before the first day they report.
The Mohawks do a good job recruiting. Most of your guys are SEC, ACC guys.
Yeah.
So you're seeing good arms and good hitters during the summer. Yeah. What are things you see, Breen, with them that you're like, okay, these are qualities that are important, and when you're working with high school kids, you're like, okay, these are things they're going to need to have if they want to get to this like Power 5 level.
The big one that you see right away, and it's usually, Shuttleworth Park, great place to play. Not sure, you guys probably been there.
Yeah.
Like, great place to play. The crowd's hopping, everything they got, a fan event, this, kids are there. It's great atmosphere. It gets you ready to play. We both played there back in the day. Well, before the Carter administration, as Coach Griff says. But
had to get it in.
had to. Shout out to Coach Griff. But you get there and you see kind of right away, like, watch the routine. Watch the way they warm up. The guys, hey, first pitch is 6:30. By the time they're done with announcements, it's, 6:40, first pitch celebration, hula, 6:45 first pitch, you got to be ready. And then you see the ones that are diligently, like, every step of the way. And then you get to see that one time through the rotation. The next time through the rotation, they're every step of the way, good or bad. They go out there, again, the crowd's going nuts. You see the ones that compete. Like, that's the difference. You see the ones that want it. And, like, if you're going to pitch or play or hit at anything in that level, like, you got to think, if a pitcher and a hitter are going at each other, it's a game of one-on-one. You're in a fist fight right there. Balls get put in play, then your defense. But realistically, it's mano-a-mano. You got to go right after them. You see the ones that want to compete, the guys that are, hey, we just came from the World Series. Okay, great. This guy's, how is, oh, yeah, they speak for themselves. I mean, the ones that have grown up and they have it, like, right away. Like, they get in there. I'm not talking about the way they step into the batter's box or they celebrate a double. No, the ones they get in there and they have their breathing routine. They have their, I check my batting glove once. I step out. I look up at a spot in the sky. I step in. It's like, wow, they're so regimented. Like, they've found something that makes them work. It just gets them in the zone to go.
It's really cool to see, too, because you can almost see the simplicity or the complexity of it all. Like, there's some guys that we've coached this past summer who they're super simple with everything. Like, I'll go over to them during batting practice. I'll talk about it. Like, hey, what are you thinking about? And it's like the most simple, just like, yeah, I'm just trying to hit it right here the entire time. Like, that's it. I'm not trying to do anything else. You go over to some other guys and they're thinking about A, B, C, and, they're thinking about the whole thing. Both work for, like, those kids, but you get to kind of see the whole vast array of everything, which is really cool. Like, that's one of the parts that I enjoyed the most. Really just getting in there, just really getting to know the guys. Because, I mean, I can speak for hitting. Like, hitting's very mental.
Baseball's crazy mental. Baseball, like, if I could go back to, like, Little Mean Elementary School, I'd be like, you got to figure out your anxiety, or you got to not play baseball, because like you're gonna have a hard fucking time these next 20 years of your life.
Imagine that you get a 30% on a test and you did great.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Dude, for some reason that baseball was my sport, but my anxiety and my fear of failure is what ruined it for me.
You have to consistently lie to yourself as a hitter, as a baseball player in general, and just tell yourself you're okay. When like 70% of the time you're not even close to being okay.
Any other sport, like you're done.
Yeah.
You have a 30%
You're dead.
success rate, right?
You're not even on the bench. Not even on the
No.
bench. 30% for baseball though, like you're moving up, you're playing.
Unless you're Shaq shooting 30% from three,
Well,
that's about the only thing.
if you're 10'6" and you weigh 340 pounds and can move, and there
Right.
you
You
go.
can
But
really,
like that's about the only thing I could think of off the top of my head. I was like,
Right.
30%. What could you do at 30%? Nothing.
Yeah.
Shaq at the free throw line. There's 5 rings.
Yeah. But it's interesting. Some guys keep things that do well, keep things so simple, but
Mm-hmm.
some guys are like thinkers.
yeah, there's so many dudes who are thinkers. It happens way more than you. I mean,
I was gonna
anyone
say, I
really
feel like
think.
there's more thinkers than there are just like keep it simple.
100%.
And
Or
I like,
overthinkers.
you got to think. So we all deal with the same athletes and all that. I mean, you guys can see it. The ones that you have to, the ones that want to crave all the information. I want this. I want this. I want this. And then others, it's like, hey, just get basic. And there's no right or wrong way. It's just like you said, like summer, you got to go nuts. But it's all about us and the way we have to coach it. Like we got to understand, like if I go into this guy and I say, okay, I think we kind of got to get here, but this, and they look at you like, so I just got to do this. It's like, just do that. Yeah. Hey, point A, point B. There you go. Yeah, just do that. And then you got the other guy. It's like, but I got about 10% more pressure on my middle finger when I throw this pitch. But like I got a little blister, so I'm making up for it with this finger. I'm like, what? Dude? Like, you got blistered. How about joining us over here on the bucket? How about that one?
Yeah. Yeah, we see that in the gym sometimes with kids who are just like too meticulous.
Yeah.
I'm like, I appreciate the detail, but it's hindering you. You're taking it too far.
Yeah, like, and again, I think McFerrin said this like a while back, and it was like, at the end of the day, you have to compete.
Yeah.
And like that's a learned trait. Like you have to go out there and you have to compete. And like that is so true.
Okay.
That's why do you play sports?
Right. So this is where we grew up and we competed. You competed with your boys in the yard, and
Yeah.
you competed in like town rec, and you
Yeah.
competed in
I'm competitive in everything.
everything. You
Right.
competed. But okay, but now we talked about how showcase culture, it's not going to go anywhere. It is what it is, and you have to learn how to use it properly. So how do you guys know when you're working with a kid, we got to compete now, but you probably should mix in a couple showcases here and there? How do you create that blend? Because I feel like for a lot of parents, that's a confusing world right now. There's so many different travel teams. Like I think people just had tryouts for their travel team at the end of summer.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's just a cluster F.
Yeah.
They're trying out for 8 different teams. They're trying to, parents are trying to do what's best for their kid, what's going to help my kid develop the most, and then there's showcases to go to. It's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's probably a little bit more on the pitching side than the hitting side, because pitching, you can blow out your arm.
Yeah.
You can blow out your arm.
Yeah, you're risking something if you
Yeah.
choose to do a showcase at the wrong time.
Yeah, and it's also like your training regimen. Like, I got this showcase on Saturday. I got to get in on Tuesday and Friday. Recovery is part of the development process. Like, if you're just go, when does your body ever get back up to peak? And that's like a very, very honest conversation you have to have pretty much every week, especially like, during the spring and during the summer months, as far as, hey, if you're going here, you almost have to map out a 10 to 14 day schedule for them and say, hey, if we're going to go here, then we have to back off here, and then we can go back up to a certain point. I think you'll be good. A lot of it is, knowing your athletes. When, hey, this guy can throw 10 extra because he's going to keep on top of his stuff. He's shown a clean bill of health. He's, everything checks out. And that's the biggest thing. But, you tell these parents, you can't put too much pressure on the kid when you go to these things. They feel it, and they'll come in and it's like, we spent all this money and I didn't pitch very well. Like, you're not going to pitch well all the time. Sorry. That's the way of the game. Like, it's just going to happen. But if you sit at everything, it's like the burden of the money opportunity. It's like, oh, you'd never heard kids say that.
Yeah, that's a big piece too. Well, because the parents are spending so much money, right? They come to a gym like this, they do a pitching lesson with you, they do a hitting lesson with you. So now it's like, how do the parents not feel this pressure when you just drop, $3,000 this winter on your kid?
You got to travel, you got a hotel, you got to eat while you're there. What if you guys want to go out for a team night or something? You guys can probably do that. Like, it all adds up. And then, a lot of the mature kids out, they get it. They get it. You hear a lot about that. Like, I never heard it probably until maybe the last 12, 18 months or so. You start to hear these, sophomore, junior age kids. Like, they're just such a pressure to commit to a school so they can be done with this. And it sucks the life out of them.
Is that what it is, you think, to be done with it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's more along the lines of to be
Yes.
done with it. It's like the domino effect. Everything else starts, like, people start falling around you and or start signing around you.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you a little self-conscious and honestly self-doubting. Like, oh, can I actually do this? Like, XYZ is all going all over the place. They're all signing. Where am I at? And that's kind of that internal look they got to take, where, you have to be really truthful with the person in the mirror. Just this is where I'm at.
Yeah, well, now with social
Take your
media,
time.
it's right. It's like, once somebody signs, when somebody gets an offer, they're like,
Oh,
post it
everyone
something.
knows.
The best is when the kid comes in. Did you see this kid? He signed to wherever, and I throw 4 miles an hour hard. And but who knows what they were looking for? Like,
Right.
maybe you didn't present yourself the right way while you were there. That's a very strong aspect of it. Like, how do you handle yourself? Or
Right.
does the coach want you? What was the level of competition? Have they been on you? How many other schools are competing for you? Is it a position thing? And there's a lot of these variables, but the kids at the end of the day, they just want I just want to sign a piece of paper.
You know what would be a good, I feel like, indicator? People like to, in our field, they like to then market on kids. Like, I worked with this kid, which is wild to me, especially since I have a kid now. I worked with this kid and he signed here. I'm going to market the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Which is disgusting to me because this is a kid.
Yeah.
I would love to look at places that do that and then look at the percentage of kids that are at that same school 2 or 3 years later.
Or just their sophomore year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just their sophomore year.
One and done.
How many kids leave after their first year?
Because it wasn't the right place.
Right.
Yeah?
That's the biggest thing.
You see it, right?
All the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
that's the
time.
biggest thing.
And I think going back to the showcase thing is it comes down to we had a basketball guy, Steve D'Agostino, on at one point, and he was saying how people are playing, they're doing all this stuff for the scholarship. That's not what it's for. That's a byproduct of everything. And
The scholarship's the
yeah,
byproduct.
The scholarship's the byproduct. So if you do all the other things, the scholarship's going to come, or the money from the school, however it's going to come, it's going to come. You just got to put yourself in front of the right people, work hard, and not put the pressure on yourself, which is easier said than done. But that's where parents come in, coaches come in, and set them up with the plan. And that's where guys like you, guys like us, anybody that's in the field come in and give the kids the resources they need and the tools they need mentally to get through that.
That's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that too. It's you gotta, hey, sometimes it's gonna go your way, sometimes it isn't.
Yeah.
But you gotta stick to your path, stay in your lane.
Yeah, just stay in your lane. I mean, what is it? I feel like coaching. You're coaching. Yeah, you're trying to get them in better, to improve better physically. But I feel like you're more of a therapist almost too.
Oh,
At times.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You are, you're in their head, and we were joking before we started. Yeah, you're in my head, Paul. Sometimes, but it's never out of anything negative whatsoever.
I'm only in your head when you see a band and you're like,
That's just Downey.
we're going on that
Jordan,
now.
I feel so bad.
What color is that?
You know this too. I feel so bad about this every time. When I worked in Boston, I had this client. This guy's name was Mark Furman, not like the OJ detective guy. This other lawyer guy, Mark Furman, and I trained him for years. And hey, Mark, grab the green band. Sometimes you come back with red. Oh, so whatever, you're older, whatever. Sometimes come back with the green. Okay, cool. He knows it's the green today. And I swear, 2 years after I started working with him, hey, Mark, go grab the red band. I'm colorblind. I was like, Mark, you can't tell me this the 200 other times I've told you to get a band. And yeah, we've done it the same to Downey. So
I do it on purpose.
Here's probably the best. We're playing golf. We're trying to read the green.
Sorry, Downey, to put this on you.
That's all right. That's all right. Now every time we go, he's reading the putt. He's here. is it the light gray or the dark gray that goes against the grain? I can't tell. What is it? Can you help me out here? Yeah, man.
So I think it was the first time we golfed with Griff this year.
Yeah.
First time we golfed with Griff, and
Griff's the head coach of the
Griff's the head coach
Mohawks.
of the Mohawks. Yeah. Shout out to Griff. He's awesome. But we're golfing with him this year, and I'm in the cart with him, and I'm relatively new to the golf game. I'm just starting to learn it.
That's a generous way of putting it.
Thanks. Very new to it, and he's hopping in and he's showing me all the pointers and stuff like that. So he's kind of right behind me, and he's explaining, like light green's gonna go faster, dark green's gonna go slower. That's how you read it and go from there. I'm kind of looking a little shell shocked because he's been in my ear the entire day about everything, so I can't even tell my lefts from rights at this point. But I'm just wide-eyed. I'm confused as all hell. And I just kind of like rotate my head over to Zach and look at him like, come on, man, you got to help me out here. And he just goes, light gray fast, dark gray slow. I go, oh, got it. Probably put it within like a half a grip length to the hole.
We counted. I saw it go in the cup. Golf is a game of failure. Not baseball. Golf is a game of failure.
Golf's the
frustrating.
hardest.
As I've been playing, I've noticed like it really shows you who you are.
Yeah.
It really shows you who you are. Like it's competition. It shows you like, nobody else is like, in baseball, if I strike out to Zach, which happened often.
I don't remember.
Jay, do you refuse to golf again?
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's a smart man right there.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money
It's
saved.
like I like my mental health too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever had a relaxing time on a golf course.
Is it because of Dad when we were younger?
Yeah, it didn't help.
Oh man.
I wonder how many of these has Dave listened to?
I don't know if he
Good
listens or
question.
not.
Definitely a couple. We've talked about a couple.
Yeah, okay, so he listens
Yeah.
to some.
He may hear it.
Oh, I love it.
Shout out,
but,
Dave.
But, yeah. The supplement industry is like the Wild West. The lack of regulations mean the supplements you purchase may not even contain the ingredients listed on the label, which is why I get my daily vitamins and supplements from Thorne. Thorne vitamins and supplements are made without compromise. Quality ingredients ensure your body optimally absorbs and digests your daily supplements, while in-house and third-party testing ensure you're getting exactly what you paid for. Thorne offers a variety of health tests reviewed by board-certified physicians that evaluate your lifestyle, gut health, sleep, stress hormones, and metabolic markers to determine which vitamins and supplements may be most effective in helping you feel and perform better throughout the day. For college and professional athletes, Thorne has NSF-certified supplements that make sure you won't get pop positive on a drug test. Whether you're an athlete, professional, parent, grandparent, or weekend warrior, Thorne's selection of high-quality supplements can help improve your quality of life. Switch to Thorne's high-quality and extensively tested supplements today at thorne.com/u/CDSF. That's thorne.com/u/CDSF. This episode of Off Exit 10 is brought to you by Anchor and the all-new Anchor Pro, crafted to endure the most high-performance workouts without the high cost and space requirements of a standard cable machine. Named the best portable cable machine by Men's Health Home Gym Awards, Anchor provides the full functionality of a cable machine in one small space-saving unit. Designed with user-friendliness in mind, Anchor can simply be attached to any squat rack or placed on any wall in your home gym using its intuitive sliding track mount. With up to 65 pounds of resistance, Anchor is built for high speed and controlled exercises alike, from cable presses and rows to chops and lifts. The Anchor has been a game changer for us here at CDSF, and now you can enjoy the same professional quality cable machine in your own home gym by heading over to anchortraining.com and using code CDSF10 for 10% off your order today. Get all the benefits of a cable machine without the high cost and installation fees. Enjoy the portable luxury and space-saving performance of Anchor today by going to anchortraining.com and using code CDSF10 at checkout. That's anchortraining.com, promo code CDSF10 for 10% off your order today. But the college thing, like when you guys were going through high school, how much did you think about, I want to play in college, I want to sign to a school?
Pretty much once I was old enough to understand what it was, you got to go to college, scholarship we got to pay for. Like, doesn't matter where you go. If someone says they want you and they're willing to put up, some money to help get your education, then, go for it. That was kind of the field when I grew up. So, I went to a Division II school down North Carolina, Barton College, and I loved it. I loved it. And number one for me, and same thing I'll tell the guys now, it's like I got an opportunity to play. I got, a pretty much a new experience going down south. I met, a whole different side of the world that I'd never seen.
There's definitely an important piece about leaving here.
Mm-hmm.
There is. It's like, you know what? Who's going to wake you up to go to class in the morning? You. Like, there's a lot of life aspects. Like, that's why I encourage people, hey, if go a couple hours away. If you don't want to go a couple hours away. Like,
Right.
It's more of a life thing than just a pure baseball thing, because like you're gonna have to do this, you got to do your laundry, you got to do your homework, you got to get up for this, you got to go do your lift, and like if you slack off, then you're done. Like it's it. Like they'll just go find someone else.
Right.
That's a real world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Downey, where were you? You were a JUCO first out of high school?
Oh yeah.
No.
So
Okay.
I was a JUCO kid over at Herkimer first. I was there for 2 years.
JUCO Bandit.
JUCO Bandit.
Herc, man.
And then from there I went to St. Bonaventure. Was there for 2 semesters, I want to say, at the most. And like talking about it too, like looking back on it, I think I even rushed my decision. And like that's something I've thought about for a while. Like
To
I think
what? To do Herc or to do Bonaventure?
to Bonaventure, because I was caught up in that whole D1 clout. Like I really wanted to get that, because to me I thought that would prove to myself that like I was, above par, when
Right.
in reality all I had to do was kind of look at the back of my baseball card, show myself that I could play. But no, went to St. Bonaventure, loved it there, but wasn't really my right fit. And then, from there went to a school down in Louisiana, LSUA, Alexandria.
I don't think I knew this.
Yeah. Went down there for, Jesus. I went down there for like maybe 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, it didn't work out. I remember
Did not
that.
work out. That was, I love my time there. I have so many funny stories with a lot of great people that I still talk to today about this, but like, it wasn't really a good fit. I was just trying to bounce around. I wanted to play. Like at the end of the day, that's the only thing I ever cared about. I just wanted to play. I'd figure everything else out later. So, I bounced around from there, went to Brockport after that. Same thing, wasn't really my thing. And then I just said, you know what, I'm going to really put my money where my mouth is and see if I can play in this sport. And that's when I kind of left and went the indie ball route. Had a lot of fun there.
Yeah, see, baseball, it's so interesting because there's so many paths. I feel like other sports, it's like I go college and then I get drafted, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
That's kinda that.
Baseball, you could see a 29, 30-year-old making, kid I grew up with, Zach Remillard, the same age. Like, there he is making his big league debut at the age of 29.
Right.
You know what? Absolutely. And he comes up and he has a great, first game. It's just unbelievable. It's like, you love seeing that, but, like, that's probably the only game. You don't see 30-year-olds in basketball, making their debut, for the Lakers or something. You don't see that.
No.
One of the guys I was at Driveline with too, Brandon Mann. He was on a MLB Network and everything like that when he made his debut with the Rangers. He's been a minor league guy for he got drafted out of high school, and he was in the minors just grinding away, bounced around, went all over the world, played in different professional leagues all over the place. Ends up getting his start. I think he was 33 or 34 with the Rangers. Like, there's so many avenues you could take, and then especially just being a part of it and just talking to those guys, like those are the stories that are awesome to hear.
But it's almost like getting led on.
Oh, it's definitely
Because
getting
then
a lot
it's
on.
like, oh, well, this guy signed at 34. Let me
Right.
get in shape. Like, what? Yeah.
Breen, you can still throw it?
Yeah.
Don't let him fool you.
I
He can
feel-
still throw it.
Yeah, I feel like I hear a couple stories every year of like some kid comes in here, high school or college. He's like, yeah, I went to some. How was your weekend? It was good. I went to some live ABs. Oh, cool, man. How was it? I'm like, yeah, Breen was there. You chugged a bang. You got up there and threw 91.
Yeah, and then what they don't see is what the next 7 days look like. But about once every once a month we can get up there and we can let it go, and then it's struggle for the next 7 days. Just mentally prepare yourself to lock in and be in pain.
Yeah.
And, hey, this is what Monday feels like.
So I am gonna puff him up a little bit here.
Don't
So
do that.
this summer with the Mohawks, we had a little what did you say it was, a charity game, like a jersey auction night.
Yeah.
So it was like a jersey auction night where players are wearing different jerseys. After the game, they all auction off, and they go to whoever it is, take a picture with them afterwards, and you eat afterwards. Then one thing that I found was awesome with our guys was like they were hitting at all hours of the day. Like as soon as the game was over, like a lot of the guys were rolling out the turtle and the machine, and they're getting their hacks off.
Are these guys, though, that didn't get a lot of ABs during the year, so they're getting them now? Or no, they got ABs during the spring?
It's a mixture.
It's during the spring, we have a lot of the younger guys that show up to Amsterdam. We'll have, the guys that, all right, this guy threw a bunch. We'll get a lot of seasoned pitchers, but a lot of the hitters, there's a little bit of a mixed bag. You have the guys that started, you have the guys that split time. But, yeah, these guys all the time, we're getting ready to leave, and I'm like, why are the lights still on? Wait a minute. That's a ball in the air. What is happening? Like, what are we doing here? And we walk back down, and all of a sudden, there they are. There's a group of 5 of them sitting around.
A group of 5 are just there hitting, and me and Zach walk out. We're just talking to them and hanging out. And then I think one of them mentions, like, oh, like, why don't you get up there? And he's like, oh, if you got, like, size 14 cleat, I'll get up there. Kid takes off running towards the locker room, and Zach just looks at me and goes, oh, no, here we go.
Thinking he'd say, nah, I don't have those cleats.
Never. Never.
You should have said 15.
Well, I think we would have had them, too.
Yep. So kid sprints into the locker room, gets the cleats, comes out. Zach goes, all right, I guess I'm doing this. Starts warming up. Stuff like that.
I take like 12 throws.
Yeah.
I kick out the leg a little bit, do an arm circle here and there.
Sounds like a Dan Jones warm-up.
I crack the neck and, all right, here we go. Coach, where's your J-band routine? Yeah, you know what? I get it. I get it. Look the other way. Look the other way.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
I think
Coach, you can't walk today. I still hit 90, so just.
I think you went first 6 batters, all strikeouts.
First four. First four. There wasn't
not even a barrel.
First 4 got
a sound.
Swing and miss on 6 pitches.
Yep. And then after that, he just felt a little bad and decided to give up some contact.
Yeah, a little bit. Eventually you got to keep him engaged.
Yeah.
You got to let him come back a little bit. Oh, I almost got you. Oh,
but it's
got to be quicker than that.
Yeah. It's a funny little thing too, because like the very next day, you see him getting basically wheeled around in a wheelchair because he can't walk.
He's in bubble wrap.
Yep. All the kids are just like, what happened? And all the other kids who were there, they're like, oh, you'll never believe this, man. Him? Really? Yeah. No, he can throw.
Well, the best part is we're scrambling the next day. It's like, oh, we got to get somebody up. Oh, my God. Griff goes, get out there. He goes, take a visit. He goes, walk like you normally do. I said, all right. Umpire comes about halfway. He goes, I know what you're doing. I said, my hip really hurts today. He goes, all right. Only because I know you're not lying. I get out there. I'm still talking. I go, all right. He goes, now you got to walk all the way back to the dugout. I said, yeah, that's right. I go, if foul ball comes over here, I will fold like a lawn chair. So it's built in. It's not good when Coach Griff's walking better than me, but yeah, it happens from time to time.
Yeah, well,
Very rarely, but
Yeah. So through, like, Breen, you get into college. Do you have aspirations to play post-college?
Of course. I mean, you make it to college, what's next?
Right.
It's like life. You keep going up that ladder. How far, how high can I get to? Like, what's the level that I can get at? You always want to play against the best. And that's it. Like, if you're a competitor and you're a real true competitor, it doesn't matter if, as soon as someone says, hey, I can get a hit off you, like you're in. But you get there, and that's where I say there was probably some stuff where it kind of, pressure, so to say, especially junior year, senior year, where it's like, all right, like, I think I might have maxed out what I can physically do. I've had a Tommy John. I've had other things. I've had, a couple other things go wrong for me. I'm not in the greatest shape, but you go out there and you compete. Then again, like you said earlier, like, oh, are you looking for a number? Well, when the number is 88, 89, it's certainly not going to get it done.
Right.
But, you always, like the whole indie ball thing, you give it a shot. Like, hey, it just, there's always that hope that you could always have your best day when the right guy's there. Mm-hmm. And if you have your best day when the right guy's there, who knows? And that was kind of like the thing that always like was out in front of you. Like, hey, you could always, you got the number 2 team in the country this weekend. Great opportunity. All right, yeah, I threw a complete game, but, I walked 4. I gave up 3 runs. I struck out 10. My velocity was anywhere from 84 to 92, depending on how I felt, and whatever it takes to get through a game. But that's not good enough. But you always try to play, and that's where the older you get, and you want to look back on it. I tell the guys, you go to the highest level that you can. The game will tell you when you're done, or your body, but the game will tell you when you're done. If you don't make it, if you can look back and say, you know what? I went as far as I could. I did as much as I could. I'm happy with the career that I had, and I met a lot of cool people. Like, hey, let's let's start to move on a little bit, and that's where I think kind of the switch flips. But you're always trying to get to the top, you're always trying to get to the top. There's even guys, there's minor leaguers, like you said, man, there's 33, 34-year-old. Why are they still in the minor leagues? You want to get to the big leagues. Like, why are there still guys on YouTube? You see YouTube videos. Oh, I'm training for this, and I just had this, surgery again, and we're ramping up. And it's like, you don't want to say for what, but you want to say, hey, all the power to you.
Right.
Well, you only have like you said, you only have so long to play. Like, I remember listening when Brady was like getting ready to retire. He's like, I only have so many years to play football.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna get every year out of it that I can, and he got every year, and it's like that.
Every dollar too.
Yeah, every dollar too.
Yeah.
That's maybe not. He took some pay cuts in New England.
True.
But besides that, it's like you do only have so many years to play, and if you want to be or try to get to the best level, why not just keep pushing it until you can?
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, you'll go everywhere trying to get to it. You'll drive yourself nuts.
But Downey, because how many years of indie ball did you do?
3.5. I would say 3.5. I could say retired, I guess. Retired like midway through. Early year of 2019 was like the last one. And like, the game, I fully believe the game will tell you when you're done. And then also if you can really get to a spot within yourself, I think you can tell yourself when you're done. But that was my number one thing. Like, I don't think my career was anything based off of immense skill. I think it was just based off of pure stubbornness, because I just wanted to keep going until I knew in myself I was done.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Just pure stubbornness. I mean, it's the whole story that everyone hears. Like, oh, you're never going to make it. You're not good enough. You hear it from everybody. Anyone and everybody will tell you that. Oh, you're crazy for doing that. But then you're in the middle of it and you're just like, I just want to keep going. Like, it's almost like a prove you wrong thing. Like keep receipts. Like, that's the thing that drove me the most, was just that inside of just like, hey, I have so many people who've told me no.
Dude, that's a real fucking thing. Like Sam and I were, I think it was just earlier this week, we were talking about just like different ones of our friends and their career paths, and I don't know how it came up, but she's like you still have a chip on your shoulder. I'm like, yeah. I was like, I don't think it's ever gonna not be there.
No.
I don't think that ever goes away.
Yeah.
I think it's the that chip on your shoulder never goes away. And then also kind of that like Atlas holding the world up kind of feeling, because like you got to balance both. Like, you got to balance that chip on your shoulder that like you want to tell everybody no and like, oh, I'm better. But then also you got to kind of like carry your burdens. Like, hey, this is the life I'm living. This is what I got to kind of deal with. Got to make your bed with it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Very inspirational.
You got to drive to Seattle, to Washington, to California, to Texas.
That was like,
that was you, Downey, because this was, when did you go to Driveline and train? At what point was that?
Driveline was...
And this was early, right? Like early facilities at Driveline.
This was so in the history of Driveline, this is second facility.
Okay.
The one they're at right now is the third one. I was at the middle one. So that was, I want to say that was spring of 2017. That was like my first time out there, and I was out there for a full year. That was kind of like I finished like I think a half a season indie ball at that point, and I kind of figured like I need to completely reinvent myself if this is the path I want to take. And for me, that was just like kind of gaining power and like extra base hits. Like, I think up until that point in my career, I was kind of like a racehorse for every team I was on. Like, hey, put the ball on the ground and just go run.
You could fly, man. You could fly before all the 17 hamstrings that you pulled.
Thanks. But yeah, like I noticed like I need power if I'm an outfielder. I need to do it. And like, I forgot who it was. Actually, no, it was Boland. Boland. Boland said, he's like, hey, there's a place out there in Seattle. I've been looking at it. Like, you should probably give it a look and like figure it out. And like, just watching the videos and stuff, because that was like early Driveline YouTube right there. And like I was witnessing all like the cool stuff they were doing and everything like that. And I was like, this is the place I need to be at. So I reached out and got everything set in motion, and I just moved across the country to figure out how to hit a baseball. And honestly, that was probably the best time of my life. That was so much fun, man. There's so many guys over there that I still talk to this day. So much things I've learned from them, just even being like a fly on the wall. And it's almost like moving away to college.
That's what I was just thinking. It's like getting away from upstate New York.
Yeah.
Just getting away from like where you grew up, whether it's us up here in upstate New York or you know, if you did grow up in a city, like say you grew up in New York City, going somewhere else outside of New York City to get just a different perspective on life and what else there is out there. And again, like you said, to learn like how to do stuff on your own, like not have mom and dad there, or have coach there, or have the teacher there, or whoever it is.
I think the life part was the biggest thing. Just a complete reset on life. Like, you know, you get caught in your routine, you get caught in everything that goes on around here and everything that's stuck. I don't want to say stuck, but like everything that's around here in general. Like that stuff gets built into you. How do you want to, like, if you want to build yourself successfully any way you want and like follow your passion, how do you do it? Just completely figure out a new pattern, figure out a new way to work it. And that was the thing. Like I went over to Seattle with a duffel bag of baseball bats and like a suitcase. I had no idea how to get to and from the facility. I had no idea really where I was going to stay past a month, I think, in the place. Just go figure it out.
That reminds me of when we had Rugen on,
Yeah.
and he said he moved to New York City with like no money, like very little money, very like just went down there and figured it out. And now he's a successful realtor down there.
The 20s are the time where you got to go figure that stuff out. And like, you can either just kind of sit back and like watch it go by, or just go do it and like go do something that you're like really passionate about. And like, the way that I've always thought about it is your passions and purpose have to be more, or have a greater like kind of internal fire in you than like self-doubt and anxiety.
Yeah.
Because like once that flips, like that is one hell of a, like, if your self-doubt and anxiety is higher than your purpose, then like what you truly feel like in life, that's a tough place to come back from, man. Because like that's a lonely place to be in.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, especially with a sport like baseball.
It's baseball's like the most individualized team game ever, because like if you mess up while hitting, like it's your fault. If you make the error, it's your fault. And like, yeah, it's a team game. Like collectively, you have to do well to win. But like, if you make an error, that's on you. And like that sometimes is kind of tough to deal with because it happens so often. So you're constantly just, you know, telling yourself you're okay.
Yeah. But I feel like you go through all of that. It's like, okay, now it makes you better suited to be a coach and to work with kids, because you're like, okay, I know what you're going through, or what you may go through, or what you could go through.
Sometimes that's the hard part, because you can't get like, sometimes you have the guy that's so close-minded. It's like, no, like you can't. It's not just peaches and cream all the time. Like, you're gonna open up that ice cream gallon out of the freezer one day, and someone's gonna eat the vanilla and the chocolate, and you're just gonna get stuck with the strawberry in the middle. And like, I'm sorry, but like nobody wants that.
That's a great analogy. I like it.
Well, like, that's true though.
I'd be pissed.
Oh, I remember I was like first grade. It was, you know, back in the 70s, and you know, you go to lunch, and it's like, oh great, what do we got? You got strawberry and vanilla. I'm like, can I just get half? I don't want. No offense to strawberry, but I don't want strawberry. No, look at me. Am I looking like I'm eating strawberry? No.
I love how quickly you just turned that into like a self-hate on strawberry ice cream. Like, that was pretty impressive.
You know what? I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one.
No.
I'm taking credit for something I saw on the internet. Someone funnier than me said something a week ago, and you know, I just pulled it out of somewhere.
But when did you start coaching, Breen? Was it right after your college career?
So I was coaching with my buddy Lou in a high school team. We had a JV high school team in North Carolina, and we were good. I mean,
So you stayed down there after college?
Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. So I got done playing. I had 1 year left to finish my degree, and that was like by far like one of the toughest experiences to do, because you're there to go to school and play baseball, and then all of a sudden you're not eligible to play baseball anymore. You've played for 4 years, but you have to get your degree. Like, that's part of it. And like, it's a thing, you know, it's more common, you know, you get these 5-year degrees. There's no shame in it. You know, some people take 6 years, 7 years to get a degree, but you know, there's nothing wrong with, there's nothing wrong with that path. It's just very, very tough, you know, very tough, because everyone around you is still playing.
You were at how many different schools?
Oh, I think I touched every level of, like, I definitely touched every level.
I was just about to say, be careful how
you.
you word this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these are paths that kids in high school may think, I'm going to choose my college. I'm going to be there for 4 years. I'm going to play. I'm going to get my degree, and then I'm done. But it's like, that's almost, you know, it's equally as much. That's not going to be for you. Go somewhere else. Jordy, you were at 1, 2, 3?
3 colleges, 6 years.
Right. It's like there's no right path. What made you switch around a lot? Didn't like the baseball program, academics, the social aspect?
It was a little mixture of both. It was a mixture of all. I mean, honestly, wasn't good enough or didn't get enough exposure out of high school. So I was like, all right, well, if, this is going to be it for me. Like, I'm going to try to go to the best one I can go to. And at the time, and still is, Herkimer was that like school around here. Like, these guys are nationally ranked, everything like that. Honestly, I don't even think Raz really knew who I was at one point. Like, when I first got there, I was just kind of a kid who he recruited, and I was there. And then I played really well, and I played my way into the starting lineup for sure. But after that, Bonaventure, I think it was Bonaventure for me was a great time. I think it got I wasn't ready for it. I honestly wasn't mature enough to handle it. And, that was
like baseball and just being at like a bigger school?
Baseball, school, kind of everything. Especially school, It's terrible. Like, this is why I like coaching, because don't ever do what I do. I did. But when I went and I transferred over to Bonaventure, I remember telling the academic advisor, like, hey, listen, just give me the easiest major possible. I'm just here. I really just want to play baseball.
That's not uncommon.
Not uncommon
You're
at all.
not the only person. You're not going to be the last person.
Definitely not the last. But yeah, I just remember saying that. Like, I just really wasn't mature enough to handle it. And at the time, I think it was just me being like, oh, I just want to play baseball at the highest level. That's the highest one I got. Let's go. And like, that was my sole focus. But like, kind of like going through those like kind of failures and just like truly owning it, just being like, I messed up on that one big time. I need to like reassess and figure it out. And then from there, it was just, like that pure stubbornness of just trying to play at the highest level. And like, once in my mind, I was like, I just need to go do this to like prove to myself that I can go do it. And then after that, everything just, hard reset. Because, I mean, being so one-sided with baseball, just
saying like all your eggs were in that basket.
Oh yeah, there was no other baskets. Yeah, it was just I was gonna go do this, and
you see that
we'll figure it out.
You see that with kids, yeah, Breen? Is it good or not good, or sometimes good and sometimes not good?
Depends on how you want to put it. So like, there's sometimes like you have all these kids. I'm gonna go here. I want to do this. I want to play this. But there's also, you could describe it differently. There are like, all my eggs are in one basket because I want to go play baseball. But now there's a lot of the times, which it's a good change of pace. Kids have, they're turning down offers, and a couple kids, they're turning down offers. Just, it's like, no, I'm so set on what I want to do post baseball that like, sorry, I'm not changing my mind. And you see, that's the one that we like to see. It's like, all right, because there's always going to be an afterlife. Whenever you could be 40 when you're done, 45 when you're done, whenever it is, but at some point you're going to be done. Like, what are you going to do? And go for it. It's like, I try to express, some of my life stuff on the athletes. And it's like, I went to college, I was playing baseball. I didn't know what I was going to do. And, I kind of, I got a decent degree, which I've used, but I haven't. I could probably have done so many other things to help what I'm doing now versus, a lot of what I'm doing now is kind of self-taught through experiences. And, I've been through this doctor and this coach and heard this, like a podcast, like you hear better minds talking about it, because, it's sports and a lot of things. Some of these things is now copycat. It works here, it works there, it works this. Like the driveline thing, once that went off, you see the plyo balls everywhere.
Right.
You see, you got Rapsodo sitting right there, like everywhere. So it's kind of like that. You get.
Do you use Rapsodo?
Yeah.
Does it work all of the time?
Most of the time. It depends on what kind of software you have. I mean, I've been through all of it, like all of it. I mean, when it works, it's a very, very cool thing.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But the problem is, like, when we've had our experiences over the past, like, there's sometimes it doesn't work, and then you're on hold for a while, and it's like, oh man, like it's a really cool product.
I wish that like TrackMan, if they just made a different product that was a little bit lower price point but a little bit higher price point than Rapsodo,
yeah,
it'd be the move.
So,
but the TrackMans are so great, but they're so expensive. It's
so expensive.
Yeah,
you get what you pay for, but
right.
like, I think the Rapsodo is just a fine product. If that's what you have, like, you
Right.
can do a lot with it.
Mhm.
You know, now you get into different aspects of things, you know, where it's, you know, movement because of seam shift and, you know, this and total move. You get a little bit of a different read with the system that it uses versus the TrackMan. Now, if you go through and you study it all and you do what you got to do, you figure out how to use it, as long as, you know, willing that it turns on and it works properly.
Right.
And that's, you know,
And
calibrate
it reads the pitches that you throw in.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, right. I could take a look and see if I can fix that too, because I feel like, you know, you're not the first people I've said.
We're on like our third unit. This one's working okay.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah, when I first, you know, started getting into it, I think we went through like 4 or 5. Like, you know, we went through 2. It was on the tripod of all things. I'm like, well, this is a target for a lot of the guys we got coming in here. Yikes. And then, you know, my favorite one is how the faceplate broke on a spiked 82-mile-an-hour fastball. And it's like, when you think about this, you put that unit on the ground at 45 feet.
Yeah.
45 feet. Now it's 46 feet from Little League distance. So you couldn't even throw a fastball for a strike at a little field.
Don't you just hate when the strike zone dances around?
I hate when the strike zone moves around on people, and, you know, it's just sometimes it's here, sometimes it's there. You know, oh my God, well, that one, now it's up on that part of the net. No, it happens. Some guys can't find it. You know, you know, some people, they say, Coach, hey, the strike zone moved out of the way. Hey, I hear you. That's tough.
I wish I said that when I was taking pitching lessons at All Stars growing up.
There you go.
That lasted about a month, and then I was like, yeah, I'm not pitching. I'll stick the outfield.
Yeah. Right.
My pitching career ended my sophomore year of high school. Yeah.
That's when mine ended.
It's a very infamous little scenario. So Garrett Whitley.
Yeah, Whitley's a
Shout
great kid.
out Whitley. Shout out Whitley.
Hey.
Shout out Whitley. So I was a sophomore. He was. It was actually just before I got called
Dude,
up
I wish
to
we had
watch you guys
we
win.
had Whitley lined up to come on the podcast last year, and then I got COVID. And I just fucking shelved it. Yeah. So we'll get him back again.
How's he doing?
I don't know. I don't want to speak to it. He signed with the Phillies. But I saw on his Instagram the other day that I think he's done playing.
Huh.
We'll have to research.
I know
don't
he had a
wanna
bad
speak to
shoulder
it.
injury. It's
Yeah.
like right when he got off, he had that bad shoulder injury, and it was like, oof, that's.
But
He had a good year, and he played in Australia for, I think, a winter season. I think he played really well out there.
He's just a nice dude.
Really nice dude,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, I wish he was nicer on the changeup I hung, but
He ended it. He hit a
ended it.
bomb.
Ended my career. Hung a changeup right down the middle. And if you guys have ever played at South Colony School, there's the gymnasium right behind the left center fence.
It's not right behind. It's
Not
a
right
good
behind.
distance behind.
Yeah, it's about 30.
Don't let him fool you. It's a good distance behind.
It was a
fence.
bomb. We'll be
Yeah.
honest. Hung a changeup right down the middle. Put it on top of the gym, on top of the building of the gym, and after that, I told everyone I'm never stepping in that like brown circle again. I'm not doing it.
This episode of Off Exit 10 is brought to you by Drink Alchemy. Fatigue and brain fog affect us all, destroying everything we pursue. Whether as an athlete, artist, creator, or entrepreneur, our mind holds the key to performing optimally. By combining the most potent organic nootropics found in nature, Drink Alchemy delivers sustainable boost to creativity, memory, energy, and focus in one epic beverage. Stop pumping your body full of excessive amounts of caffeine and unknown proprietary blends from other energy drinks, and get clean energy from Drink Alchemy's natural nootropics like lion's mane, L-theanine, and caffeine from green tea. Used by Olympians, D1 athletes, MMA fighters, and entrepreneurs, Drink Alchemy has become a huge part of my daily routine, making sure I'm functioning optimally during long days of coaching athletes, running CDSF, and getting in quality workouts myself. So do yourself a favor and ditch the energy drinks loaded with caffeine, other stimulants, and who knows what else, and head over to drinkalchemy.com today. Live with your mind unbound and save 10% off your order by using code CDSF at checkout. That's drinkalchemy.com, promo code CDSF for 10% off your order today. Can you gingerbread me? That's what's gingerbread. And can I have some of that cute creamer as well? That creamer is good, right?
It is
Breen?
good. It is good.
Yeah, a little French vanilla. Yeah.
Do you want to pour it up? 'Cause I don't want to.
You pour it up. Just give me like half of that of coffee, please. My first ever game I started in college, Dan Jones was the pitcher.
What an ugly guy.
And yeah, that's good. A little creamer. So yeah, Dan was the pitcher the first ever game I started. I started at third base.
This was pre being moved to the outfield.
No, my first time I ever played a game in college, I was an infielder in high school. Our outfielders got hurt. They just put me in the outfield. Every
Mike
ball
is
found
not
me.
an outfielder.
Yeah, but no, that game I got just put in middle of the game. But the first game I started was at third base, and Dan was the pitcher. And yeah, we lost. We got crushed. And I did like okay, like probably like, you know, regular Mike, like fucking 1 for 3 and made some plays in the field. And I come out of the dugout after the game. My dad's like, "Hey, is your neck okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like I don't think anything happened." He's like, "Oh, like you kept having to go like this the whole time with all the balls." So I'll bust Dan's balls by telling that story.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, man, those years. So, Breen, your first coaching job, North Carolina. Then when did you come back up here?
Came back up here 2018. Started at Frozen Ropes. Was there for a good amount of time.
So that's when I met you. Then you were then just freshly back up here.
Yeah. Just kind of just getting into it. And like, you know, for me, like I started just wanted to be around baseball, and that's really the only thing I knew. And got really creative. Got really creative. Just tapped into a lot of, you know, like doing this, like doing that. Kind of had free reign to try out a lot of things.
That's part of this field, though. You need to kind of figure out your ways. I mean, when you're surrounded by better people, it helps you figure out your ways. Like I was at Cressy's for a while.
Yeah.
Those were the coolest times because it was before. It was like when you were at Driveline. It was early. I think it was a second or third space. It was the bigger. You trained there, Downey. It was the bigger.
Yeah.
What years were you there? You were there after me.
I was there after you. I was there 15 into 16.
Yeah. So I was still living in Boston, but I wasn't there. But it was like the early years when it was like just Cressy and Gentilcore and Greg Robbins, and it was like that. That was the staff, and Matt Blake was there.
I was going to ask if that was before Blake or
And
not.
that was Blake. And Blake, he was coaching a high school team. He was a regional scout for the Yankees and then doing pitching lessons. But you would just watch him operate. Like, you know, he was doing metrics and combining biomechanics with the pitching and the psychology and the strength training. Like, you know, it's probably since before 2010. And it was just cool to watch him, like, but he was being creative. He was learning from Eric on the strength training side, and I would see him reading anatomy books, and he was, you know, just blending different things. And now it's like, look at him. He's a pitching coach for the Yankees. It's wild.
Yeah, it's a field that you are constantly learning and adapting. Like, you look at probably some of the things that we've done, you know, 3 years ago. You're like, probably isn't it anymore.
But and it's like, it's not like you're a accountant or a teacher. You don't go to school and you don't study coursework and it leads you to this. There's nothing that directly leads you
No.
to that.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. You know, you got to get there. You get in here. I want to try this out. I want to get a different feel. And a lot of times, it's how would I be able to describe this if I was coaching to somebody? Like, what's the best way? What I'm feeling. Okay, I know what I'm feeling. I know how I'm going to describe it. So I'm going to dumb it down about 10 levels. And how would I be able to present this to the average kid? You have those guys that you can, you know, have that high level intellectual conversation, and you have the kids where it's, hey, pick your foot up. I need you to do this. Maybe land that way and throw the ball there. Okay. You know, those are the easy ones. But yeah, there's really nothing to prepare you except life experience. And that's, you know, I think it's a genuine field. You know, it's, you get all these guys like, you played this growing up, you did this growing up, like this is your life. And that's why you have so much passion. You go into it and you have to, if it's something where you feel like you're going to work every day, you're not doing it right. You know, it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like this is life. Like this is just what I'm doing.
Yeah, hearing that is cool because you'll be at Siena as their pitching coach, which is so cool for this area because I feel like, I mean, we know guys who have been at UAlbany, like they haven't had great success with development. St. Rose has Wayne now, which I think, you know, they're
Played for Wayne
back
in the day.
which I think is great for that. Now you have a school where it's like you have a good players coach working developing guys.
Yep.
But I feel like just that was lacking in this area for a long time. And if guys want to stay local and be able to develop themselves, there wasn't many options. But now it's Jasinski's there and you're there. It's pretty cool and refreshing, and I feel like so good for the area.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of excitement. I will say that. There's a lot of excitement. I mean, Alex's resume speaks for himself. Network speaks for himself. I mean, anyone who's anyone knows the guy. And it's like, everything. But just, you know, the attention to detail in the job that's being done. And you got to stand, do this. You know, we want this way, you know, from the field to, you know, how we're going to dress every day. We're going to act every day. We're going to go into the weight room. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Like everything. Like there's a culture change.
Right.
And and there's a lot of guys, local guys that we know that I've coached before that are there now, and it's just like, wow, just wait until we get everybody in the same room, and when it's time to go out there, I mean, you got a lot of guys believing, hey, we're gonna, we think we can really compete. Don't ignore what happened, last year with a record, but like, let's go for it. Like, this is a great place to play nowadays.
So exciting being at the ground floor of it all. Like Mike, you over at Cressy's, me over at Driveline, and then Mike,
Sienna.
Mike over or Zach over at Sienna. I don't know who you are.
You wish.
But it's just really exciting kind of being like almost a fly on the wall, being a part of that whole thing, because you're really witnessing just like, I almost want to compare it to like the Renaissance.
Well, I think it's a shift in baseball, well, just the world sports with technology and data now. So you've seen that shift with baseball where metrics are such a big thing at every level now. But then also, baseball is a very traditional sport. We do things the way that I did things. We do things the old school way because this is how I did it when I played. And there's some merit to those things, but there's a lot of bullshit to those things.
The unwritten rules.
Right, the unwritten rules. So I think you're seeing now us, right, guys in their young 30s who now have had some education, and there's just more education now. People didn't have that back in the day. We've read psychology books and studied biomechanics and understand maybe the value of just like relationships more and what kids are going through now.
I was just going to bring that up too. Like coaching now, especially in baseball and just in general, it's just so like coaching, you'd be set into this standard. Like this is where it is. This is where we go. This is how it's always been.
Right.
But now it's okay. Let's pull some from like AP. Let's pull stuff from psychology. Like how do we build not just the best athlete, but person?
Yeah.
Like that's where everything's kind of all starting to
Well,
elevate.
that's the shift you're seeing.
Yeah.
Younger guys more our age who can blend all of these things.
It's almost something that the kids look for too.
Yeah, they look good. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, like it's I think it's a little bit more relatable because they can look at like, oh, hey, that guy was in my shoes, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Oh, I was, trying to do the same thing that he's doing or that he went through. And part of the biggest thing of coaching is communication, relationships. Like you have to build a relationship. You have to build a trust. And if you don't have that, you're never going to connect with somebody. Mm-hmm. And you can be, I say this all the time, you can be right, you can be wrong. If you present it the right way with confidence and you can, you hold yourself to that standard, it's going to work. I mean, I can say the same thing. He can say the same thing I'm saying, but word it completely different and talk to the same kid, and he's only going to understand one way. That's the beauty of coaching, where you got to be able to, you got to know everybody. So like, how can I communicate it to him, and I'm going to communicate the same way, and I'm going to speak completely different, but I don't need this guy to hear it because then he's just going to get confused. I'm saying the same thing.
You see now, because of this plethora of information and more facilities in this area, let's say, because that's where we're working, which is good. Some are good, some aren't so good, but which is good that more people are trying to help kids. Where you get so many cooks in the kitchen with one kid. Mm-hmm. Whether you're a hitting coach and they go, well,
4 hitting coaches, 3 pitching coaches, 7 strength and conditioning. You're like, what's going on?
How do you? I'm trying to think. You guys probably see it more because you guys in the weight room. Like a kid's not going to lift at 2 different places.
Like they might lift at school in here.
At school in here, we have to deal with that variable and maybe just things they've learned in the past that aren't right that we need to re-educate them on. Mm-hmm. But do you guys ever have? Well, then I go to you and I go to this person and how do you deal with that?
So what we'll hear is, especially when we're doing lessons, and you'll hear travel ball or school ball, and I went to practice and I was doing this, and told me they don't like what I'm doing here, and they told me to make an adjustment, and I didn't make any adjustments. I just kept doing it.
I was doing the shelf. But yeah, they hear stuff that may be incorrect.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they go to their team and they go, he told me to do this. I didn't change anything. I just hit the next one on the button, and like, oh yeah, that's it. That's what I want you to like. The funniest thing, I say this all the time. Oh my God, I got a video last winter from one of my athletes at school, and he set his phone up in like the corner of a gym, and they were throwing bullpens at practice, and he's like, watch this. So he sent, it was like a 10-minute long video, and the coach legitimately watched him throw one pitch. And he was like, oh, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. Oh, here. And then, like, he'd just be sitting there on his clipboard, and he'd look up, and he'd see a strike. Yeah, that's it. And it's like, the effect that has on kids is tough, because it's like, oh, well, this guy's telling me that, but he's my school coach. So, like, he's the one that determines my playing time.
Right.
But that doesn't work for you. And, like, that's where it's like, hey, have a conversation.
Right.
Or, it always comes down to us as the independent guys.
Yeah. Have you run into trouble as an independent guy communicating with sport coaches?
Not really.
Okay.
Not that anything that I've heard. I also, I tell a lot of guys, hey, you signed up to go to that college. Like, you have to give them respect. Like, they're in that position, treat them with respect. Okay, I might know something that works for you better, but, like, I'd rather be the guy in the backseat. Like, when you're struggling and times are tough, you can count on me, and I'm gonna help you the best I can, the way I know that you can tick. And then, I'm also going to say, well, hey, maybe he's trying to get you to do this, and maybe he didn't communicate it in the language that you're comfortable with. But, you always have to take that approach. You always have to say, you kind of always stay on the high road. You always, give everyone the benefit of the doubt pretty much. But, I mean, a college coach, it's tough to come by. So there's some level of respect. Mm-hmm. But whenever they go up to school, it's like, hey, send me a text if you need anything. I'm always here. You call me whenever if you have trouble. But it's never bad to hear that voice, because yes, he's going to determine your playing time. You have to show that you're coachable. You have to show that you're into it. And, it's kind of like real world stuff too. Like, you're going to hear things that are complete BS, and you kind of have to roll with it at times. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'll go with it. Taking the high road, they call it. But, there's a lot of that. You do have to be careful with the way you word things. Like, if you put in a text and you're like, oh, he's like, I've heard people have said that, and it's like, then you can't just openly blast somebody.
Right.
You can't, because at the end of the day, like, the kid has to go to that school. You can't, as an outside factor, you can't create a negative situation with him being there. Mm-hmm. I'm not there. It doesn't affect me one bit. But, like, if there's anything that comes down from it and he's there, then are you really looking out for your guy?
Yeah, the conversation and communication aspect is the biggest part. Because I think, in all reality, I think at the end of the day, like, all coaches want the same thing. Like, they obviously want you to succeed and be good and play well. But I think the communication aspect is the biggest part, and I think it goes on all ends. Like, one thing I've always said to people I work with is just like, hey, if your coach has any questions whatsoever, like, please don't hesitate to give him my number and have him reach out, because, like, at the end of the day, like, him and I both want the same thing. It's just like, we want you to succeed and play well. And if there's a communication issue, like, that just kind of looks bad on both ends.
Right.
I'd rather just nip it in the butt right away, get it over with. Mm-hmm. So, like, we can be on the same page, because we're all trying to help in the long run. Like, and that's where I think it gets a little confusing.
Yeah, I think it's a mature thing, though. As, like, at least me, younger in this field, is like, you just have an ego. And you're like, my way's right, and everybody else's way is wrong, which is such not a good way to think.
If you played, then yeah. Like, there's the, hey, step in the box. Like, how many times did you hear that? Hey, step in the box. Oh, yeah? Step in the box. You think you got it? Oh, yeah? You think you're going to get a hit? It's always that attitude, which is the right attitude to apply to life, and a lot of times.
Yeah. Like, there's so much that...
Yeah. I'm staring at this coffee. I don't
go for it.
Get some more, Breen.
I don't mean to cut you off.
No, let me help you out.
Stuff was good.
Like, there's so, like, I think I learned more on a baseball field about life than in a classroom. 100%. I think there's so much that you can learn and, like, take from it, just in the sense of, like, a routine, mental stability, communication, work ethic.
I'm not gonna be that guy.
You could take the rest, yeah. No, you're gonna say something?
I should have.
I mean, at this point, that you were
anybody
going to leave a drop.
Man, just
Yeah,
go for it.
Here, let me finish it. You want that little bit here? Let me finish it and then ask if anyone wants more. That's the way to do it.
Better ask forgiveness than permission, right?
Let me make a mess here quick.
So good.
I was going to say something now, and I don't even know.
Here for my wife would be yelling at me. You're always making a mess. Oh, why are you leaving? I went in the fridge to get something and it was empty. No, there was a little bit left.
Sam hides shit from me now.
Uh-oh.
Like, let's say you're eating a snack. I'll be like, wait, we have this snack? She's like, no.
Where'd you get that from? Oh, it's behind the rice. Oh, gotcha.
Next thing you know, it's not behind the rice anymore.
I have no constraint. Like, If it's in the house, I'm going all in on it.
Yeah.
So I gotta like not get things.
So, my wife had back surgery in the beginning of August, so she can't get anything on the bottom shelf of the refrigerator. So we have pizza and wings, and I'm loving these chicken wings. I mean, you don't have to tell a 300-pound fat guy that here's a plate of chicken wings. If there's 6 left over, they're not gonna be So, I'll put the food away, honey. Don't worry about it. All on the bottom shelf. All on the bottom shelf. She's not going to eat it without me knowing it. And then I got to barter with it. Hey, you want any chicken wings? I don't know. Okay, I gave you the opportunity. If you want them, you can go get them. Where are they?
Breen, tell me what you think about this. Jordan, you know my dinner takeout rule?
Yeah, I do.
Jordan's so against this. You want share
go
it,
for
Jay?
it. No,
you
go
want me
ahead.
to share it? I think it's
your golden
bullshit that
idea.
people don't agree with me, and my family doesn't agree with me. You're out to eat. You're with your family, maybe some of their significant others. You get a delicious meal, and you eat it all because it's a delicious meal.
Right.
And you paid for it, so you ate your meal. Maybe somebody else at the table, they didn't really finish their meal, and they want to get it to go. It's if the food was just cooked, it's probably better fresh. If you want it, you should be able to claim it and eat it if you can finish that whole plate.
Like if the 5 of us were at the table
And you said, I'm not going to finish the taking home. I go, I could finish that right now. You'd have to shift it over to me, and I have to.
I think
could
it might be
finish
the other way around, but
No?
No.
Yeah, I've
Jay?
No, please. Tackle
well,
that.
I mean, it kind of depends on what it is. If, hey, I want to take these fries home. You want to take those fries home? Have anyone had fries
I'm
out
saying
of the
this.
refrigerator?
Are you really going to eat
Fries
it?
out of the refrigerator,
I've seen
terrible.
enough times where I'm throwing away those takeout trays because they never got ate. I'm saying I'm going to
does
eat this
that?
right now.
So that is, it's very, very, it's like, hey, you really want to take that to go? Like, I'd rather just finish it than have to carry it.
I want to
and
say,
then-
are you sure tomorrow for lunch you're going to finish that? Like,
Right.
just think about it.
Right.
Are you?
Right. And if you know what, if that's the process, then like, I guess I'll tip my cap to you. But like, you know what? Why? Because what we're going to go to eat, and then we're going to go somewhere else, and then if we're going to date night or something, we're going to go. I'm not carrying around your food all night.
Ooh, that too.
I'm not carrying around your food all night.
that's a valid point. If it's a date night, I'm not carrying your food around.
I did that. We went
but
to.
if I'm going straight home,
No, we were in Lake Placid. It
depends on what it is.
A few weeks
Friday.
ago, and we went out, and then we went to a bar after dinner, and I'm carrying around a little plastic baggie to these bars.
Looks cute.
It looks cute, but yeah.
It's we went. It depends on what it is. Like there's sometimes we order. Hey, we're going to get a little bit extra. We'll have some. I'll be okay with it. But if you get a meal and she gets a meal, and hey, I got like half this burger I couldn't eat.
you eat the burger there.
Oh, burger's not seeing the light of day. I'll tell you that.
Like burgers and fries, you don't bring home. But like if the first thing that popped in my head is the Druthers mac and cheese. First of all, that's a lot of mac and cheese to eat in one sitting. But I could probably do it. I've definitely done it.
I don't want people to think I'm an asshole. I just don't want to wait.
But the Druthers mac and cheese, I would say I would offer some to somebody, but then like I'm bringing it home.
But I just
because
don't
I'll
wanna-
reheat mac and cheese.
I don't want to waste food. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's not your food.
But it's food.
But Mike also doesn't reheat things, so Mike's never gonna eat leftovers.
But I will.
But
Yeah, so will I.
I paid for date night, so.
Look, if Mike's paying, he can have whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah. If you're paying and I don't have to pay, then yeah, by all means. If I don't want it and
Is
you
that
want
the middle?
it's you.
Is that the middle ground? If you're willing to cover the whole bill, then yes, you can take what's left over.
Yeah, I think
the
that has
table
to
is
fit.
yours.
That's a
Yeah.
fact. Like
I'll
if
meet-
you're covering the whole bill, like if I paid for my meal and you want to try to eat my leftovers, I
know
might
what?
stab you.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah. You better start running.
I'll meet in the middle with that. If you're covering the bill, it's rightfully yours at the end of the night.
Absolutely.
Jay, we can settle on that.
Compromised.
Look
There
at
you
this
go.
compromise,
There you
everybody.
go. There you go.
Look at that.
There you go.
We're just settling issues.
I'll be here all
Cheers,
night.
boys. Oh, I love you, man. Who was your baseball teams growing up? Breen, MLB.
Well, it's a bad year to be a Yankee fan. It's a really bad year to be a
We
Yankee.
haven't had many of those in our lifetime, so
No, we haven't. Downey, who are you?
Yeah.
but it sucks.
That's
It's terrible.
I mean, it does suck, but like, here's the thing. Like, you know what? Baseball's a cycle. You see the Braves doing what they're doing. That is like you don't see that. You see that's the Yankees in the '90s. So it's like, you know what? Injuries happen. It is what it is.
The Braves are the first team since the Angels with like Mo Vaughn to have 4 guys have 35 home runs or 34 home runs on the same team.
That's what happens when everyone plays 155 games of the season.
And
everyone plays every single day.
And can hit the damn ball.
They don't
really
get hurt.
well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're really, really good.
They're really good.
Let's not forget about that.
So I'll tell you how my favorite team and players come up kind of in the same time, because that's how I kind of got my love for baseball in the first place. Because I don't really ever remember watching baseball up until this moment, where I was watching Vlad Guerrero on the Expos, Vladdy Senior. Yeah, Vladdy Senior on the Expos. I was really young, couldn't even tell you what age I was, but I remember seeing him hit like a 50-footer curveball, like not even before home plate, just golfing it out for a double, and I was like, that is the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life. How the hell do I do that?
He could hit anything.
Yeah.
It didn't matter where you pitched the ball. He was gonna swing, and he was probably gonna hit it.
Yeah, it's
He has
terrifying.
like a lifetime like 320 batting average.
On bad ball.
like 320. Like that's really good.
That's crazy.
Under 100 strikeouts too on the years.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever
impressive.
struck out more than 100 times.
What's the Tony Gwynn? Somebody look, his like strikeout
Oh.
stats are wild.
Wild.
It's funny because I was reading something that Greg Maddox said, and he said being able to, because this goes back to you with the changeup thing that you talked about earlier, with like a hitter can hit a fastball, but then when you change speeds, the human eye can't detect a change in speed.
I
Right?
think they should outlaw changeups. I hate them.
He's like, you can't, the human eye can't, like if you just have a baseball go 55, 65, 75, or a car going 55, 65, 75, you can't visually tell how the difference in that. So being able to change speeds, right? You bring up Tony Gwynn, he's like, nobody else could do that except for that mother effer Tony Gwynn. He's like, Tony Gwynn was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20-year career, total 434
Yeah.
strikeouts.
That's how many Gallo had with
21
the
per
Yankees
season.
last year.
How many per season, Jay?
21 on average.
That's unreal.
That's nuts.
Over 20 years.
Now just think about how the game is played today.
But that's okay. So explain this, because I've phased out over the years of watching so much, just with life and other interests. But now, why will you never see that again, Breen or Downey?
You
Well,
could probably
for-
answer this better than I could.
So I think baseball's a life cycle. I think it constantly just goes around in a circle. And I think we're seeing right now that it's getting back into more, I don't want to say more, but I think the contact guys are kind of making a reboot. They're kind of coming back out. But I think like, what was it? When I was at Driveline, like just getting into it and then like just starting my pro career, 3 true outcome guys were like the biggest thing. Are you going to walk, punch out, or are you going to hit extra base hit? Like those are the big things. And like you had to kind of sell out for power. But now, since you're seeing so many high strikeout numbers, I think you're seeing it start to spin back around where it's like, hey, you need to make a little more contact now. I think you're going to get back into like kind of that sweet spot period where there's going to be a lot of extra base hits and the strikeout numbers are going to go down, which is going to make the game exciting.
I also think the shift going away is a
The shift going away is
deal.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I even look at a guy in the Yankees this year his power numbers aren't what they were in the year he hit 38 home runs, but he's got his highest batting average. He struck out significantly less. He has the most walks, highest on base percentage. That's Glaber. Glaber's actually like, he's not striking out. He's going with the pit. Like, I think you're going to see more of that from guys that like don't need to try to hit 38 home runs.
100%.
Like, you know,
He's hitting 275 with 25 bombs from the second base position, playing good defense, and he's got an 800 OPS. He gets his walks. Like,
I was gonna say before with Vlad, he only had 2 years that he batted under 300, and that was 2009 and 2011.
Is that with the Orioles years?
His last year with the Angels, and then he went to Texas and he batted 300 and raked, and then he went to Baltimore.
Right.
Bear in mind the average is under 300, 295 and 290.
wow.
And he also, and you're right,
Drop-off.
he never struck out over 100 times. The highest amount of strikeouts he had was 95 strikeouts. That was his second year in the league.
He swung. Think about that. He swung at everything.
Everything.
He swung at everything, and now you have guys like even Mike Trout striking out 140 times a year.
Yeah.
And he's like our generation, like the man.
Yeah.
On the trade block, by the way.
No, like Vlad definitely was like the guy. For me, Vlad was the guy. He was everything, especially in like those like Montreal days. He was everything. He could do everything. Anything and everything.
I don't know how I didn't become a Mariners fan.
So
Because Griffey was my guy. I don't know how I didn't become I'm a diehard Yankee. Derek Jeter, that's why.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've
There you go.
slowly
There you go.
started.
I'll take it. That's acceptable.
I've slowly started to be like a transitioning Mariners fan.
J-Rod?
J-Rod.
J-Rod's the man.
Yeah, J-Rod, and shout out to my former high school catcher, Brian O'Keefe. He's
Yeah.
AAA and bouncing between the majors with the Mariners right now. But like just living in Seattle too. So when I originally moved to Seattle, like I watched sports. I wasn't a fan of anything.
That's right. You told me you're a Seahawks fan because of that.
And I had to go to a Verizon store because one of my friends froze my phone he just froze my phone in a block of ice. So it died, and I had to go get a new one.
Put it in rice.
Put it rice, right?
Put it in rice.
So
It's a block of ice. Put it in rice.
Put it in rice.
yeah, threw my phone up into his room with a soundtrack playing as a joke. Never got my phone back. Woke up the next morning. It was frozen in the freezer.
What an asshole.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
no. Awesome guy.
Good guy.
A fantastic
It was
guy.
warranted.
Very warranted.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
very
could have put it in
warranted.
Jello instead.
Could have, but go big or go home.
Yeah.
That's the guy's motto. But I was in the Verizon store, and I think it was like a Thursday. Everyone's wearing Seahawks gear. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like talking to the guy, and he's like, oh, you haven't been a part of like a good sports city. I go, no. He goes, you're gonna love every single team. And sure enough, like just going to those events and seeing the passion that like that city had for those teams, I was like, how can you not? And I would like to say I got in on the ground level of the Mariners. So I feel like I can say that I am a proud Mariners fan now with all the youth actually popping back up and all that good stuff.
Now when anybody tells me like or says something to me about being a fan of like teams from different cities, I'm like, listen, I didn't grow up in a professional sports town, so I'm allowed to like whoever I want. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I like teams from the '90s because that's when I was born and that's when they were good, and
Hey, man,
I'm sticking to it.
I think that's the truth, man. Like if you're not actually a part of a city like that, like you don't really understand. Like
I'm
those
not a
fans
New
are
Yorker.
insane.
I'm not a New Yorker. No. F the Giants and the Jets.
Don't they play in New Jersey?
They do. They aren't even New York.
Yeah, there you go. They don't even count.
Nope.
Yeah, that's like Boston with me. Like I'll never be a Boston sports. It's not my team. But you grew up, you're like, oh, I hate the Red Sox. Then I lived there. I was there in 13 when they won the World Series. I went to a bunch of games. So I'm like, oh, this is like cool.
You see it, yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what, as a Yankee fan, what was it, last year, 2 years ago? It was like the series at the end of the September where Stanton went nuts. He hit that grand slam. And so I met my college friends from North Carolina on the cold night, Friday night. They crushed them, and then they're like, all right, we'll go home. And they actually stayed the night and went to the game the next day. And I was like, guys, I would have stayed the night. Are you kidding me? And then Stanton hit the grand slam. And I turned to my wife and I said, hey, we're going to that game tomorrow. Figure out who can watch the dog. We got there early, took the T into town, and, went to the restaurants and the vendors out there. And I'm like, hey, it's not too bad of a place.
It's a cool vibe.
I'm not wearing any of my Yankee gear, but it's not too bad of a place. Pretty sweet place to watch a ball game. That, and I've heard Wrigley. I got to get out there.
Wrigley's cool.
Wrigley's
I was there
awesome.
once.
Is it Oracle now? San Fran?
San Fran.
San Fran is
Oracle
really
Park.
cool. Just the whole atmosphere around it itself. When I was playing, I just tried to go to as many games as possible just to kind of experience everything.
Yeah.
Because you want to like take and draw from each thing. So like, it's the understanding of the area. Like you can see kind of like how that area operates and vibes when you go watch their teams. You go watch their sporting events. So like, when I was in Texas, I went to go see the Rangers and got that little atmosphere. When I was in Chicago, I got to witness both Chicago teams, Cubs and the White Sox, Mariners out west. It's like, I tried to go see as much as possible because you can really get a vibe and a feel for the city.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm stoked to watch Sienna this year. I mean,
Me too.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man.
The funniest part is I had never been on the field until like the other day. I'm like, wow, I've never been driving around campus. Like, where do I park? I've never been on the field. I went to high school. It's like a 5-minute walk away, and I've never been on the campus before.
Oh, no, because the Dutchmen were at Belize when you played for the
Dutchmen were at
Mohawks.
Raleigh when I
Yeah,
was
okay.
playing for the Mohawks. Yeah, it wasn't Sienna. So I was like, wow, this is quite the setup. But it's Division I school. It's Division I program, and that there is a difference of that elevated level, and you can feel it. I mean, it's not like we coach these guys from 5 guys from Alabama or something like that. It's just nuts. Like they're going to be good this year, but
Yeah, that would be
yeah, I mean, we know half the guys, but Sienna's going to be competitive. It's going to be very competitive. There's a lot of guys that are hungry, and you kind of can sense that in baseball too, where you got to have a lot of guys that want to go out there and play.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those days. They say baseball, it's a great game because sometimes the best team doesn't always win, but sometimes the team that wants it more with the group of guys that want to play the hardest, they're going to that'll be the team. You know, they're going to win the close game. Can you guys scrap your way to a run late in the game just by staying in it, doing the little things, competing hard, you know, wanting to sell out for everything?
Those are the teams that are the most fun to be a part of.
Oh yeah, like even my college team when I was playing in my junior year, we won like 18 games. We snuck into the conference tournament. We made it all the way. We almost won it, but we came up a little bit short. But it was like, wow, could we have done that for the first 45 games? Like we probably would have won about 5 or 6 more.
Yeah.
That's what you remember most. And I can't really speak on behalf of other sports like that. I know football, you kind of just get out there, and I never played football. I'm not, you know, the hugest football fan, but you get out there, and if you're the bigger, stronger, faster guy team, you're going to win. Baseball, you can go out there and you can get shut down by a guy throwing 96. You can get shut down by a guy throwing 78 with this and throwing a knuckleball and kicking it up there. And
Yeah.
Going to what you're saying, like if you have a significant talent difference in football or basketball, it's very hard to overcome.
Yes.
You have to overcome it. The other team has to make the mistakes.
Especially with one good player, you have a good quarterback
Yeah.
or a good scorer in basketball.
Right.
That's tough. One
Yeah.
person can swing the game.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
especially basketball. Football, one person, you could have a good quarterback and no offensive
Right,
line, and
true,
you're not going to swing anything.
Yeah.
But baseball, like you said, like if you're grittier, you got the team chemistry, you got the guy next to you that you know is gonna pick you up even if you screw up, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm like, for me and Mike, like my high school varsity team, my senior year is like one of my favorite teams that I ever played for, because we literally all played together since we were like 7 years old, 8 years old. But then like we always knew like the last guy on the team that maybe wasn't the best player, like he had the best players back and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, speaking on that too, the Oneonta team when I was head coaching it,
The Fighting Downies.
the Fighting Downies. So,
Is that what they got called? The Fighting Downies?
That's what we call them. We'd show up to town and be like, all right, here we go to Oneonta. Griff would be like, the Fighting Downies over there.
so that was a lot of fun because it's like our team was good. Our team was pretty good. I would
You
say.
guys were solid.
Yeah,
definitely.
we were very solid.
Yeah.
But those guys were dogs. They came to the park every single day at all hours of the day, and they just wanted to play, and they wanted to just do whatever. And like we'd go play in Amsterdam, and I'd be telling our guys exactly what the signs are from the third base box. Zach's giving the signs. Yep, 2-tap breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Zach's giving the signs. I'm just giving them to our guys and stuff like that. And it was competitive, and I mean, you can attest to it. Like
Looking
there's
right,
no such,
looking right at you from the bucket, going,
yeah.
here
And
it comes.
you can attest to this as well. There's no such thing as a stop sign for me. No such thing as a stop sign. So when I was
Hey, they're going.
Like
Let
steal-
everybody know. Put
like
it on the
s-
scoreboard.
like stealing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care if you're a catcher or first baseman. I don't care who you are.
Some of the best coaches around here I know, Scott Stelz, or Chatham coach, he has that same mentality. If you get on first, you better be on second. Davies the same. Nick Davies the same way.
Oh, yeah. It was
And that
a
was-
headache planning back-to-back. We play Albany a doubleheader, and then we got those guys. And I'm like, all right, who's catching? Like,
Yeah.
who's catching? And, hey, guys, we got to hold these. We got to mix up our looks a little bit.
And that was the thing too. And I mean, I told you this like during the year and at the end of the year. Like, I had 3 signs: thumb up, good to go; thumb sideways, think about it; thumb down, no. Other than that, go be aggressive, go play. Like, I really just wanted them to just play from like the heart, play from their mind, and just go be aggressive and just go do it. Like, go bring the pressure to them. Like, I always would talk to them about like a boxing match. Dude, it's a boxing match. Don't try to win off points. Just go for a knockout, because like that's the competitive pressure you need to put on people, because like eventually like one side is going to falter, mentally or physical error, whatever the case may be. But like, go, don't be passive and just hope that a situation comes about. Like, go take it. And like that's the
reason you missed my wedding.
that's the reason I missed your wedding, unfortunately.
That's right.
Because of it.
Yeah. So
Because the Fighting Downies made their way into the playoffs.
And if they didn't, he would have been at
Yeah.
He
your
would have been
wedding.
at my wedding.
it was what was it?
Oh, you had to win one.
Yeah.
So you had the last game of the season. You had a doubleheader against Albany. You had to win. We had all the scenarios too, because we were trying to game plan who we're going to play.
Right.
And meanwhile, like, I'm getting ready to go get married, so it's like I'm not even going to be there whoever we play. So I'm trying to I'm trying to get notes and everything. And they won game one. He goes, I'm throwing the ace. I don't care. We're getting in. We're getting to the game. I go,
Yeah, it was a
right.
double header against Davey and the Dutchman.
And then there was an empty seat at that table.
Yeah, and I had to throw our ace. I coached him for 2 years at that point. I've known him forever, so I just kind of gave it to him. I was like, hey man, like this whole culmination is you,
You're
man.
like,
Just
hey
go
man.
get it.
You're like, hey, come here. You're like, I really don't want to go to this wedding later, so can you win this game for me, please?
So the kid who threw actually knows Zach very well too.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where it's like, hey man, I'm gonna miss Zach's wedding if we win this game. And he goes, oh, you're missing that wedding.
You guys FaceTime me on the bus to Amsterdam, getting ready for the wedding, and I was sweating bullets, nervous, not knowing what to do. All right, Downey, you guys are getting there for BP. Well, I'm getting there for my own BP. I got to go down there. I got to game time starting in 30 minutes, pal.
I think the best part was you watching the game at your wedding.
Okay. I'm going to get in trouble. Wow,
Sorry, gotta cut that out.
yeah.
I mean, you're already married, so.
I'm already married, you know.
You're putting the fucking chicken wings at the bottom of the fridge. It's like,
So I'll amend that and saying he wasn't really watching it. He was getting the updates. So our buddy
I tuned in the third. By the time the third, fourth inning tuned around, someone went up to the room, got my phone, and was like, "Here you go." But it was, the speeches are happening, and then like, all right, it's dinner time, and I'm like, I gotta watch. I'm pretty nice, whatever watching. I'm looking down. I'm like, all right, it's 6:50, 6:55. Okay, all right. I wonder how the boys are doing. And all I hear is look across the room, and I see one of those. I'm like, all right. And I look down. I'm like, it's probably a leadoff guy. And then like, it was. Probably no more than 2-3 minutes later. It's like, this is incredible. And then it was, you wait a little bit, and I'm like, all right, how are we doing? I go, oh my God, same guy. And eventually, someone's like, leadoff guy went yard twice, just absolutely. And then Downey gets ejected for arguing a play that we all saw on the live stream. I mean, we're sitting outside, we're having a cigar. It's like, we're taking pictures, and someone's like, oh my God, Downey's getting thrown out. I'm like, someone text him and tell him he was wrong.
I thought you were going to say, someone text him and get his ass here.
You got 4 hours. Let's go. Get here.
Well, I will defend and say from my angle, it looked like he was out.
Well, it was also light gray too. So
very true. That's also the same game where I walked your leadoff hitter with the bases loaded because I refused to watch a third home run go 500 feet over the fence into the water. So intentionally walked him, got the next guy to fly out, and
gave it 1 run instead of 4.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. He was on that game for sure. And when that kid's on, it's scary to see.
Yeah.
yeah, man. Boys, we gotta get people back in the gym pretty soon here.
We gotta get to things.
People gotta come work out. But
I left in 30 minutes. Come on now.
Downey's gonna work out right now. Breen, you're welcome to work out. You can fucking look at the Rapsodo out.
I gotta get off the chair. If I can do that, I'm good.
We'll start with that.
That's
then.
Good. Yeah. It's my squats for the day.
No, boys, this is fun. We'll do it again. This is a blast.
It was a blast.
I appreciate both of you. We do. If either of you guys want to plug anything, let it rip, and then we'll wrap it up. I know. Are you still doing lessons at with Frank?
Yeah. So I'm doing lessons. It's I'm doing middle school and lower. I'm doing about 8th grade and younger right now. We got a couple groups that we're doing. Trying to set up for some winter stuff. Trying to look at travel teams just in the area that we can provide. The strength training aspect and also the pitching expertise. That's a Baseball Health and Performance Institute in Latham. Franklin Miller's been outstanding. I started working with him last February. And I tell you what, I mean, it's nice to have, it's nice to be in a spot where it's like, and you guys have it here where, you got your own, we can have an assessment. You can just, there's a lot more checks and balances along the way. And you can run a little bit more steady program, and you can, there's really nothing that's kind of, no stone unturned, I should say. But yeah, it's been great. It's a business that's on the uprise right now, probably a couple years behind where you started. And, it's awesome. I mean, there's a lot. We just put in I helped paint the clay on, but he just built a dirt mound.
Oh, that's sweet.
Over Labor Day weekend. Yeah, him and his family, and they were so excited. And I was like, all right, like, hey, I'll put the clay in it and get up there. And yeah, lo and behold, it's a clay mound indoors. And so you text, hey, bring your spikes today. It's like, what? Oh, it's just, it's something new. And it gets the kids fired up, and it just shows like how much he wants it too. So it's a great spot to be in. It's just, yeah, I'd say the like you say, when you're training, the atmosphere, the environment, and the people that you're with, like that's like almost the whole game. Yeah, that's something that we're preaching.
Yeah, man.
So I love it.
That's awesome.
Just kind of ripping through college lessons. I've been mostly working with those college athletes, baseball and softball. Just ripping lessons out when they come home for breaks and during the summer and stuff like that, you know. Just nothing really too drastic, but
Yeah, find these guys. Both of you guys are great, man. You give a shit and you're educated and can communicate. And yeah, man, I appreciate you both coming on.
Give me too much credit, Mike.
yeah, way too much credit.
Way too much
Sorry.
credit.
You chugged that coffee today. I know that.
This is definitely the nicest I've
right.
been to Downey in this amount of time.
Yeah, it's really awkward to be quite honest with
It's
you.
all right. Don't worry. When you work out, it'll be different.
You're going to throw some bands at me and tell me to figure it out? Fair enough.
All right, man. We'll pick up next time. We'll catch everybody next time. Thank you.